Welcome back to Street Beat. There's a new Michigan Works agency for the city of Detroit that is finding jobs, training, and more for residents. Joining me is Jose Reyes, Chief Operating Officer for Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation, and Richard Acosta, Strategic Operations Manager of One Stop Service Centers. Thanks for coming by, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So I will start with you, Jose. Just tell us a little bit more about your organization, kind of an overview of what it is.
Well, Detroit Employment Solutions, as of July 2012, became the programmatic and fiscal oversight agent for the city's workforce initiatives. Basically, the workforce initiative for the city of Detroit is tied to the mayor's office and to the local workforce board, which is then tied to the state and flows all the way up to the Department of Labor.
Okay.
For us, we provide a wide array of services that goes from recruiting folks to actually cultivating their talent and then aligning them to where the job sectors are.
Okay. So how did you get started? The organization, that is.
The organization actually, like I said, was part of a long-standing initiative under the Workforce Investment Act. And so the city actually retained the service or managed the operation for probably the last 35 years. But to become more savvy and more business and move at more business pace and gain greater business agility, it was necessary for Detroit Employment Solutions to become the entity to maintain the services.
Okay. So now, who can use these services? Anybody? Or is it just Detroit residents?
Well, the bottom line is that Detroit Employment Solutions is a Michigan Works agency. We have 25 Michigan Works agencies throughout the state. We are, of course, the largest within the state. So any Detroit resident can come into our centers, and I will let Richard probably talk more in depth about the services we offer in our one-stop. But we also offer services to our youth, for the high school, the older adults, the 18 to 24. We have programs that we have with the Department of Human Services, such as our PATH, which was formerly our JET program, Jobs, Education, and Training. And then we also focus on a wide array of populations that were traditionally underserved, such as returning citizens, those folks that have had felony convictions, as well as our veteran population.
So now, Richard, can you explain a little bit more about how the One Stop Service Center kind of works in with the organization?
Definitely. I think one of the things that we like to do is kind of take a holistic approach to career and employment services, understanding that it may not be necessarily the resume that imposes a barrier to not only finding employment but retaining it. So we take a more intensive approach with our candidates, whether they need particular career direction in terms of transitioning to a new industry, how they can upskill themselves and access training that might make them more viable and competitive in the marketplace. Engaging with employers directly to identify what the needs are and what they will be, so we can align our services on the job seeker side to empower people really with the skills and resources they need in order to access not only jobs, but jobs with career potential for the long term. Okay.
So now if you find yourself unemployed and you're looking for one of these organizations at the Michigan Works as the first thing that you want to look for, is the One Stop Service Center one of the first things that you would go and talk to someone about to kind of get back on track and look for that new career path? Is that what we're doing? Or?
That would definitely be my recommendation. We have a very robust career services staff, staff with career advisors who meet one-on-one with an individual, determine what their interests are, what their qualifications and capabilities have been, and how they can actually map out a plan for employment. Transitioning into a new industry, leveraging previous experience that maybe was not kind of translated the right way on a resume, so employers can really see the value that they have, and also explore options that maybe the job seeker hadn't considered before.
Okay. Now, do we have any major success stories that we can talk about from someone who has used the services here?
We do have a bunch of candidates in terms of different arrays, and you know, for us, we're approaching this from a sector-based approach. You know, we see that key to economic growth is attaching ourselves to where the growth sectors are. So we have been successful in working with the local community colleges in training programs that are in IT. We're working on healthcare initiatives, as well as manufacturing. Agribusiness is making a resurgence. So we are looking at the 5 clusters that really align to the state's economic development plan, as well as the local community. And so folks are coming through, and we're taking them from, you know, where they are at this particular juncture and then upskilling them. So on our readiness, and this is really what it gets down to, is the basic readiness for employment. So we focus on two fronts, but the readiness is basically on basic skills, the math and reading, the soft skills, how do you interface with the employer, as well as the customer base that you may service, and then the technical skills within the job, so the vocational skills. And so our focus is really on those three areas, and really to fortify the individual to be able to take on that challenge. But like I said, strategically, we are also aligning it to where we know the economic growth sectors are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the information. If you are looking, more information at DetroitMIWorks.com. Coming up next, the dyeing field is making a comeback. The details are next when Street Beat continues.